I'm here for you, Sam.
Right? Like, I don't.
I'm your friend.
That would drive me fucking nuts. That would drive me fucking nuts.
That like
I
monotone
could not,
voice.
I would not be able to handle. Like, I would rather.
I think
be
the
there
part
with
that would
nothing.
drive you nuts is the fact that it's Kevin Spacey's voice.
Well, that too. Well, he ain't after me.
That's
mean,
true. He doesn't want anything to do with
No, he doesn't want me.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched.
I
finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon. And we watched Moon. But today we have a very special guest too, actually. Tessa and Nicole from Doom Generation Podcast. Say hello, girls.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, girls.
Hello, girls.
Hello, girls.
We don't follow directions
Hello.
very well.
Right? I
You
was like,
sounded
wait,
like
he
fucking-
specifically said.
You sounded like Bosley from Charlie's Angels.
Right?
Say hello,
Say hello,
girl.
girls. Hi, Bosley.
Hello,
Oh my God.
angels. No.
Great start.
Great start. Well, we are going to talk about Moon. David and I have already watched Moon, but since we have Doom Generation on our podcast today, neither of them have seen the movie Moon. And since they usually do movies they've seen in the past and we do movies we haven't, we thought it'd be a fun kind of a thing to do for this episode where we kind of switch it up. They watch a movie they've never seen, and we rewatch a movie we both actually really like a lot.
Yeah, it was just really an excuse to do Moon because I wanted to do Moon.
It's just an excuse
Right.
to do Moon, since our podcast kind of doesn't fall into that. We can't always do movies we always want to talk about. So I'll start off with, let's say, Tessa, what did you think about the movie Moon?
I did like it. I was saying earlier that I don't know if it's one of those ones that I'm gonna like go back and rewatch a bunch of times. Like, you know, it was kind of weird. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. It was definitely surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had a whole nother idea as to what was gonna go on in this movie, and it was not
Yeah.
that at all.
Same.
And I mean, it wasn't a bad surprise. It was a good
No.
surprise. Like it was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. All right. So I mean, I enjoyed it, but I mean, you know, I guess maybe I wasn't in because I kind of rushed it. Also,
I know.
Come on,
she
it's,
was,
Cancel the episode.
I was getting
Get out
like
of here.
I was getting ready to.
They
don't like it
Yeah.
enough.
I was getting ready to go to Vegas, and then I was packing my things, and I put it on because I wanted to make sure I watched it before. You know, I didn't want to watch it on my phone in the middle of the desert. So, I didn't actually get as into it as maybe I could have, but I did like it. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean,
I'm like,
No. I think it's one of those movies where, as I was watching, it's been about 9-10 years since I've last seen it. And so as I was watching it, a lot of it was coming back to me, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what happens. Oh, this is what happens next.
right.
And I think for someone who maybe is kind of like, we've watched a lot of classic movies throughout the years. Like, I think this movie reminds me the most of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
I can
I
see
It
think
that.
for
definitely
those,
gave me that.
yeah, and I think for those people who have seen that, and then as they're watching the movie, they think, oh, Kevin Spacey the robot is going to be a bad guy.
Right.
And I think
yeah,
throughout
yeah,
the
I
whole
think that was
movie,
coming.
Mhm.
you're looking
Right.
through that
That's what you're.
lens.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
waiting
Paying
for
attention
him
to
to be
that.
the one. So when he turns out to actually be really helpful, you're like,
Oh,
okay. I
okay,
guess I
I
was
guess.
looking at the
Well,
wrong thing.
It definitely did kind of reinforce like everything that scares me about space and like being,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Being
Like,
left up
'cause
there.
That's a whole thing. Like I have space is fascinating, but space is also very scary to me.
Yeah.
So like the thought of
Yeah.
being stuck somewhere like that, like isolation is kind of appealing, but not like that.
but not for 3
right.
years.
Not
or-
like I still want to go shopping. Like I don't, you know, like, I want to
Does
Right.
Amazon deliver
right.
to
Can
the
I
moon?
get deliveries to the moon?
Because if
please?
Amazon delivers to the moon, we're okay.
Yeah, I might be fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like it did kind of
Yeah.
reinforce like why I don't want to do that at all. Them shady things.
And yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it my full attention.
Well,
I paid attention. But yeah, same thing. We talked about before that we both thought it was going to be just a movie about Sam Rockwell getting space madness.
yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about the subplot, or not the subplot, really, the main
Right, it was
plot
like the
of,
main plot of it.
the clone stuff. Like I had no clue going in. I
No.
was like, oh,
Mm-mm.
oh, there really is another. Oh,
Yeah,
I
like,
thought he was just
oh, I
going
thought he was
insane
going
and like
crazy, yeah.
imagining another one of
Which
himself.
would have been fine for me. Like, if
Yeah.
it was just a whole thing
I love
about his
anything with
descent
Sam
into-
Rockwell.
Oh, you know what?
Mhm.
My only
Yes, we have one gripe.
one gripe is that there wasn't enough dancing.
He didn't dance enough in this. He's such a great dancer. We love
He's
to
gotta
watch
do
Sam
the
Rockwell
dancing.
dance.
I mean, like,
Speaking of Charlie's Angels,
I know,
Yeah.
that's right. In that
Yes,
movie, he
that
dances
scene.
and it's
Bum,
so
bum, bum,
good.
bum.
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
love it.
that's like my one gripe.
Mhm.
My one gripe. We got to see Nalgas.
Yes, we got the buns, so we're good there.
We got to see the
Yeah.
little, naked bits.
Check.
But
Yes.
But-
Because he's a good dancer.
Got some
He
muscular
got them
feet.
little
Yeah.
Baryshnikov buns a
Yeah.
little bit.
That
You know,
dance.
I'm glad you brought up the dancing because I was just recently watching something in it was saying like Tom Cruise has running, Brad Pitt has
Yes.
eating, and Sam Rockwell has dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was like, no. And then I thought about it and I was like, holy shit.
It's
yeah,
true.
he
Mhm.
does. He tries to fit it in every movie. Maybe not Three Billboards. I can't imagine him dancing in that.
Jeez.
But
I haven't seen
I
that
I
one,
watched
but
it,
that's
but a
like
long time ago.
so the first two things I ever saw him in, Charlie's Angels, and I think I never saw it, but the trailer for Confessions of a Dangerous Mind,
Ooh, that was a
Yeah.
good movie. I like that.
which I think is that was kind of one of his bigger breaks too. I think I remember him even dancing in the trailer of that, if I remember correctly.
Well, because he
So-
was Chuck Barris, so he was doing the.
He's a smooth motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. He's
You
smooth
gotta
as
show it
fuck.
off.
Hell yeah, yeah.
I would if I could dance
I
like
mean,
that.
he's.
We'd be
slick,
dancing
like,
all over our
oh,
fucking
yeah,
Instagram.
Like I would. Oh man.
You're gonna have to go
It
get
would
some
be
lessons.
So-
well because we were talking about it before when we were talking about that this was the movie that we were going to do, and we chose it out of the list because it was the only one that neither one of us had seen.
yeah.
And she was like, "Ooh, I bet there's going to be dancing." And we looked up the synopsis. I'm like, "I don't know, girl." Like,
We're
that
like, I
doesn't
don't know
sound
if
like
there's
that's
gonna be dancing.
like-
There was a tiny bit, but not the right kind of dancing.
No, not what I had hoped.
I was
he
just
dances
glad,
for like half a second, I think.
I was
Yeah,
just
I
glad
need,
that
like,
there
one-
was any dancing in this film,
Yeah.
honestly.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, I'll take what I can get.
I actually had a cool experience watching this my first time. It was about like 9 or 10 years ago, and I was in college. I was studying film, and something cool my college always did was invite different filmmakers and different movie stars over for like Q&As and talks and stuff.
That's cool.
And we had Sam Rockwell come to
Oh.
our school.
Amazing.
And we actually watched in our auditorium, we watched Moon with him.
Oh, that's
Um,
crazy.
And I mean, I told my wife this, and she goes, "You watched Moon with him? He was sitting next to you, and his ass was on the screen." And I was like, I
know.
don't remember that part.
I'd be looking at
Um,
him. I'd be
I
looking
mean,
at
yeah,
that. I'd be looking
uh-huh.
at him. I'd be looking at that.
Exactly.
I'd be looking at him. I'd be looking
Side-eye.
at that. Yep. Like, is he gonna dance? Did
But
he
the
dance?
thing is that no, he didn't dance. Yeah, he walked onto the Q&A stage like in Iron
Oh,
Man 2, like Justin
would
Hammer,
be-
like yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
nice.
That would be amazing.
No, but he is a nice guy. He's a real cool guy.
Mm.
And
seems like
I
he
think
would
it's
be.
just like before he kind of became the A-list actor that he was, I feel like he shows up in a movie and you're always like, "Oh, that guy." But then he started getting some notoriety that like oh, that's Sam Rockwell. Like he kind of
Right,
moved
right, right.
himself up the notoriety list in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
But he's a chill guy, and I love his acting style. It's kind of the same dude, but not at all. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit of that. That's for sure. Like, he can kind of be smarmy, but like,
It's Sam Rockwell, but doing a really good job of being if Sam Rockwell was this guy.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I can
Yeah.
see that.
because that was fully Sam Rockwell, but if Sam Rockwell was
Right, if
an
he-
astronaut minor or
Right, if
whatever,
he was a
like
helium miner,
or
whatever
yeah.
on the moon.
exactly.
Well, and I think you have to be talented too to handle like basically his version of Castaway almost, right? I mean,
like
he does
in the
have
Sam
like
Rockwell show.
like he's talking to his clone, but he's 95% of the movie, like the acting
Right,
in
yeah.
it. So
That's
Mhm.
true. Like, it's
Um,
a lot of him.
I saw this. I can't remember if I saw it in theaters or if I just like bought the Blu-ray like right after it came out. But I watched it like when it came out, and then I watched it a few years back. And each time I've watched it, like going into it, I kind of forget what happens. And like I think the movie is a little not confusing because watching it this time I was like, okay, I guess it is so obvious what's happening, but like mixing up the Rockwells, right? And they do a great
Right.
job of making it so you don't. But that part where he gets injured, and I guess the way it divides up, like the first part is before he gets injured, and we'll talk about that in a second. But when he comes back from the injury and it's just the new Rockwell, like the first time you watch it, I think that will throw you off quite a bit. And then when you watch it again, it's like it's almost like watching Fight Club for the second time, kind of seeing how they did it,
Yeah.
how they like how
Well,
they like
the part that
How
threw
they
me
showed
off
it.
was
They
when
showed it.
well, when Gertie was like, "Hey, you've been in an accident." We as the audience think they're talking about the accident that we just
Right.
witnessed.
Right.
Right.
But the whole story to introduce every new clone is an accident upon re-entry.
Exactly.
Right?
That's when they
So-
wake up.
Yeah, so I think that's when you kind of have to put two and two together.
Well, also he does a good job before we discover. I'm gonna do so. In my notes I did like Sam Rockwell 1. So 1 is the guy we start off with,
Right.
who's dying,
Who's
and
bleeding
then-
from every orifice of his body.
I
And then
know. I was
2
like, whoa, 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 what is going on
Yeah.
here?
Well, so I was reading, and this is just the IMDb facts. I didn't do anything too in depth, but someone wrote that the symptoms he's showing is from acute radiation poisoning.
That's
And
what I
so
read
they-
also.
Yeah, so I always just thought that they kind of programmed these clones to have like a 3-year shelf life, but the fact that it's like a specific thing, which then leads to the question of like, well, is Gertie poisoning them? Like, how are they getting this? Is it in the food?
Right.
I
what
thought it
the
was-
radiation
well,
from?
now that
Or
you
is it
say
because
that.
they're in space, because they're so much
Or is it the
closer
helium?
to-
Is it the
Yeah, the
helium?
right, or
maybe?
is it the helium or whatever? Or is that just a byproduct of being a clone?
When like
that's
remember when he
just-
opened that panel and all that like gas or whatever rushed
Right,
in?
like,
Like
when
is
that
that
came out,
stuff
Well, does he do
radioactive,
that every
or-
fucking time?
right? Does he keep opening up
Like,
panels
just
and
keep,
just pouring
relive-
radiation in?
like reliving the same thing over and over again? Because
Gertie's just like, sick of this shit. It's like,
right?
not
Like,
again.
Oh my god, I'm a machine, but this is getting really tedious. Like I scoot over
Yeah.
here, I
Right.
scoot over there. I tell them they had an accident. I wake them up, and then
But yeah, his voice.
So,
Gertie's
I
voice
don't
just
think
made me think it was
so.
going to be
The-
bad.
I
I
think-
did too.
I think his realizing that he's a clone, I think we're supposed to believe that this is like a one-time thing that we're witnessing as the audience, because
Right.
Right.
I don't think that they have that they don't have that what the fixers coming in from Earth every time,
Right.
right?
Right.
'Cause
That's
I
only
think they're
because that
just
thing went
reliant.
offline.
Right.
Right, and I think they're just reliant on him putting himself in the pod, being evaporated, and then a new one
Right.
coming. And it's just it's way cheaper to do that, I guess, than train.
Well, because it's
personnel.
been years. Like they've been doing this like for years and years and years, and I would imagine that it gets to be like it's cheaper, it's easier. They don't have people that necessarily need to go home. They might start to feel like they need to go home because they've got these memories
Yeah.
that are like ghosts
Yeah.
of the original.
And that part's fucked up. Like,
I
why would you give him
know.
the memory of something where, like, you know what I mean? Like, make
can
him
they
think he just
control
loves
that?
doing
Like,
this.
right? Like, why couldn't you implant that instead? Like a really like this is my favorite thing. I always dreamed of being a moon miner.
Yeah,
And,
I love to be isolated and make
So-
little
Right,
miniatures.
like this is my favorite thing ever. Like,
Exactly.
couldn't they just do that?
Well,
Maybe
so
it'd be kinder.
I read somewhere where it was you couldn't keep the human spirit going on that alone. You have to give him something to work towards too. And I think
Okay.
I guess
to keep him
so. Like
going
to
is
think
a
you're going
family.
home. Maybe
Yeah.
Well, so it's
like
it's
you're
also
doing it
kind of
for a
like
reason.
it's like the Matrix, right? Where they're talking to Neo and they're like, originally we gave you guys paradise and you guys couldn't fucking handle it, like it was too
Right.
good for you. So we had to
Maybe.
create like a real world situation. So in this,
Like you
they're
have
like,
to have problems.
if we can clone, why can't we create robots? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I guess this is supposed to be like
Like- Well, you got Gertie. Like you couldn't make a Gertie robot that can go out there.
I know.
and,
Why
like,
can't a robot do it?
Like, why would you have to have anything up there with feelings at all? Like,
I mean,
even
and
if
you
they're
can
fake
send if
feelings.
one of your fucking mining things goes down. It's 3. What did they say? It takes 3 days to get from Earth or whatever. Like,
Right.
just hop on over and
Just-
fix it and go
like
home.
you would
Why
imagine,
does someone need to be
it's
there?
what? It's like 20. When
What?
is it supposed to be? It's 20 something.
What year? Is it?
35.
2035.
2035.
Okay. So in
Yeah.
like in a couple years, we're gonna be mining on the moon. So
Apparently.
like they gotta figure this out now,
Right.
Like just do have machines do it. Like why would you have to do that?
Yeah,
to
that
people?
doesn't make any
I
sense. 'Cause-
I do like the beginning of the movie with like the narration, like the promo ad sort of thing. I think that establishes exactly everything we need to know about this fake company
Right.
fairly quickly.
and why they're there
and
and why
then-
you need them.
And because the rest of the movie is solely focused on Sam Rockwell's characters and their wants, needs, desires, goals, aspirations, everything like that. So to get that quickly out of the way, I think it does a really good job, and then we can focus the rest of the movie on our character. You know,
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess we can just divide this up. Let's just we can talk a little bit about before the accident, all that stuff, because this is mostly just setup. Like it's kind of establishing how long he's been there, like that he's going a little bit crazy. I guess he's already having like the headaches.
Right.
Right.
And then really just the satellite issues that he's just like, it's not fair that these have been down when you have to realize that satellite's been down the entire 3 years he's been there. Like it
That's
has to
insane.
like that satellite never works.
Right. I noticed that thing or whatever because it always says it said in the very beginning when he was looking at the little panels that there's one that's always offline.
Yeah.
That like I forget which one it was. Like it had a little label, but every time you see it from the very very beginning, where you see his little computer panel things, that one of them is always blinking red, like offline.
Yeah.
He sees that woman in the chair that like causes him to burn his hand, and I have no
Yeah.
idea who that
I
was.
don't get what
I feel-
that
It's the
was about.
daughter.
Oh, was that the daughter?
It was supposed to be the
It wa-
grown up daughter that
But
he's
how-
Maybe.
seeing.
I guess
Well,
that makes
because
sense.
how does he have the memory of that?
Well, that's what I'm
don't know,
thinking.
yeah.
Like, is it because they've done it so many times that like, well, but why would he know what
he
she
wouldn't
looked
know what
like?
she looked
grown?
like. He wouldn't.
He would
Exactly.
only remember what she looked like little.
So
I
didn't
don't know.
get
Well, 'cause
what that
that's-
part was about.
Well, because that was what got me thinking that it was going to be like a space
Space
madness
madness
thing. Like he was
Space
madness. He was going to get his ice cream bar, and he was going to get in the tub. But like I thought that's what it was going to be because he was seeing hallucinations. It caused him to burn his hand. Like he was seeing other things too. He was having other medical issues and all of this shit. So that's what I thought. So I don't know why he would know what she looked like as a teenager.
But that's what you read, something that said it was supposed
yeah,
to be her?
that's the daughter because I guess it is the same actress.
Huh.
Is what I read anyway. Like I was looking up all of the things.
And then
'cause
didn't
I
you
was-
see someone, what made him crash out there? Wasn't it also like a silhouette of a woman?
It was
was her
something,
again.
Yeah.
Just a
Was it her?
silhouette?
It was her again.
Okay.
It was her again. It's really hard to see, but
Right.
I mean, his wife is a short-haired blonde, and he kept seeing a long-haired brunette.
Long-
and
yeah.
Right.
and,
It's the same
and
girl, I guess, that he talks to later. That's his 15-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
which
but
I
then that
don't-
poses a lot of questions.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
so
And
Like
how
I
also,
would
don't
he
know
know
how he
that?
knows what she looks like.
when she's first in that chair, do you get like a sexiness from her? Like,
I mean,
like
Yeah, I
he's-
thought she was-
not.
I thought she was wearing a nightie or something almost. Like I couldn't
I mean,
remember.
I got
just
Ring
like-
Girl from her. Like her hair was all kind of like down.
Right?
And,
Like
I thought it was
so
going to be
bad.
something spooky.
I thought she was.
it
gonna
was a
jump
it was
for
a lingerie set, right? It was like
Or
a bra and
something like
panty thing.
or like I don't
Hold
know.
on, she was
what-
15 years
she was-
old. What are you
I know,
doing?
like, she's supposed to be 15. I mean, I guess. Well, because that's like I'm saying. That's just what I read. That it was.
Yeah,
it
I
was
would never
supposed
have
to
made
be
that
the daughter.
connection. I just really had no
Which I
idea what did
didn't
that
either.
silhouette have to do with
I
anything.
completely forgot about that whole thing because the story changed from what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So I completely just
It
disregarded.
would have made more sense to be his wife
Yes, it would
that
have.
he hallucinated.
It would have because at least
But
he would have
then- but
remembered
then
what
maybe
she
not.
looked like then.
But
I
but
mean-
maybe not because then he kept seeing her in the live feed. Why would he imagine her if we, as the
Well,
audience,
why would
already
it
know what
freak
she
him
looks
out?
like?
Why would it freak him out if he
Yeah,
saw
exactly.
his wife? Like
Well,
if
even
he
if he
knew
was
he
just
was
on the moon?
hallucinating. Well,
I don't know.
it would be an easier
And-
hallucination because he knows
Yeah.
who she is, I guess. I don't know.
And it almost just seems like a plot convenience thing to have him burn his hand so that we have like the burned hand for the rest of the
Right.
movie, right? Like
We have to be able to know to change, tell the difference of to who's who, which clone, and whatever. Because none of them
mean,
are
as
the
far-
original guy, right?
No.
No.
Well, one was dressed like a giant yellow tampon. So
Yes, he was a
Yes!
radioactive
I wrote that
tampon.
down.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's a couple good one-liners in here.
I want to
making
sleep
fun
in
of
that.
himself.
I want to put it on and like sleep in it like I'm a little glowworm.
Yeah, it looks
Mm.
snuggly.
Yes, it do.
I would have taken that in that box. Oh, but he had to wear a spacesuit because breathing and stuff. Put it in the box.
Put it in the box.
But yeah, I saw
um,
that
it
first
also-
clone. Like, I didn't even think about there being more clones. I was telling her like until they realized there was more clones,
Right,
and then I
right.
was like, oh, that's
Oh.
not just the original guy and
Right,
the one
nope,
clone.
That's
Oh,
not even the
shit.
original guy. That's a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah, so that part I was like, oh, what
And
a
there's
twist.
still more up there, right? Like that was the
Mhm.
whole thing. There was still
Thousands.
more.
They found
yeah,
drawers
like
of
they
them.
just keep
thousands.
them,
Yeah.
that they're going to
It's
do
a
that forever
long-term
until
plan.
they get caught. Right. Which
well,
in
and I guess
that,
we can
well,
talk about
get
we can
that.
talk about this part now because so there's like we can see there's like thousands of them, right?
Right.
Then at the end of the movie, the clone that goes back to Earth is number 6, and
Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay, I didn't see
the
that.
clone that is dying that we see in the beginning of the movie, who I'm going to call clone. I'll just call him Clone 5, I guess, to make things easier. But
Right.
Clone 5, he's the first one's Clone 5. And I thought it would have been an interesting touch, but I guess it would have been maybe it wouldn't have worked as well. Like when he talks to the daughter at the end, it would have been, if he's like, "Oh, does Tess still live here?" And she's like, "No, she's dead." And like, I think I would know that's my grandma, or that's like my great. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it had been like
Right.
100 years later,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I think the time, like if it was a longer time.
It was a trip to hear him in the background, like who's
Right,
on the
like,
phone.
that's
I'm like,
me.
oh, show him.
Right.
Like,
But they
because that's a whole nother movie. Like the spin of like, does that guy know that there's a moon full
Oh,
of
I'm sure he
clones of
knows.
him doing
I'm
his
sure he
job?
knows. I'm
like
sure
that he decided
that
to do it.
he was hired to do it, and then he's like, "Oh, you know what would be better if you just took my DNA and you cloned me a bunch of times and,
Right.
and did that, and just pay me like a shit ton of money to do that." And
That is
Right.
that is what the director said, is that they
Yeah.
paid him a ton of money for that to set his life up on Earth. And,
I did read that.
The other thing too is like the wife dying. I was wondering if there's definitely like if this was a bigger movie, there would be conspiracy theories around like, was that a clone? Like what happened to the
Right.
original
What
Eve
happened to, yeah.
Right.
or Tess? Sorry, yeah. Like why?
Right.
Like why did she die all of a sudden and we don't know why? Why'd they keep it secret?
Yeah, that seems odd. And like there was that whole thing in one of the recorded messages or whatever when he's talking to his wife, or like the wife sends the message where it seems like part of it is cut out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they clipped it and
Yeah.
he notices it, but they never mention
They
it.
never
again.
mention it again. Like I almost wonder if she's telling him that she's sick. In that original, like the
Well,
original.
but that would have
clone
been
from
she
whatever
lived
ago.
15 more years though if she was.
Well, like
'cause-
I mean, I don't fucking like I said, they never fucking mention it again. At least they. I mean, I don't.
well, the
think
thing
they
I
did,
think
do
the thing. Well, no, they don't. But the thing you have to understand about the clip thing is that you're supposed to believe that these are messages sent to him directly from his wife, who's recording it in their living room, right?
Right.
Right.
And so the fact that it's edited even a little bit means that it went through a process through the company to
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
vet it and make sure this is the stuff that needs to be sent to him to keep him going.
That makes sense.
And now that I say that out loud, it makes me wonder if the wife was in on it too.
I think
that's
so.
what I was gonna say. Is
Right.
that why she's so upset? Is like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I think
like,
she's-
so there's just going to be these people that are up there on the moon. Like I don't know if I
like
want you
maybe
to
she
do
had
this.
second thoughts about it. Like I know it's what
Maybe.
we need for you to get the money and for
Well,
to
I
repair our
mean, but,
relationship.
like,
But
why would you? I mean, like it seems kind of unethical to have them have memories. Like it seems like it would be way easier to make them love their job and do all that stuff. Like why would you?
well,
want...
they have to. They're his memories because that's how cloning works. So
Well,
they're
yeah, I
supposed
know,
to
but like,
be-
why would you have any kind of whatever?
The intricacies of cloning that doesn't
Right,
exist
like, why
actually.
would you
And,
care?
and they don't seem like they grew them from babies. Like it seemed like. See, that's what I'm thinking
Right,
is
like
the
they're
radiation, how
full
they made the
grown.
clones. See,
That's
I think
what
it's
I'm
built
thinking,
in.
that it's a built. It's like a kill switch. Like you
Right.
could only have them
Yeah.
for so long. or
Because I
else it-
think he probably was up there for almost 3 years originally
Yeah,
and started to
that's
go
what it said.
crazy. And they did all these tests on him to
that
figure
that's
out
about
how long
you
can
could be
somebody
there.
withstand this.
that makes sense.
I could
and so
see
they
that.
built it into
Yeah.
them to self-destruct.
Yeah. That makes
What's-
sense. I kind of like that.
Horrifying like the most horrifying part about this is the incinerator being the promise of
Yeah,
like the
right?
capsule to go home.
And then just
Like,
I mean,
and when he goes to the floor and he like tries to find that panel and there's like a little pile of ashes right there, I'm like, oh,
Right.
dude.
And he misses the video showing that it's that too. Like, right, he's watching the video and then he kind of walks away, and then we get to see the rest of it showing
Right.
like
Mhm.
Gertie come in and vacuuming up like number 4 or number 3.
right.
So if it's
Oh.
3 years and he's number 5, so yeah, so we're supposed to believe 15. Oh yeah, and then that matches the daughter being that age
Right.
too, right? 15
Well,
years.
Right. Right.
And the other
12
thing
or
too is,
15 years.
you know, we get this whole storyline of him having anger issues and him kind of losing his wife for a little bit. And so it's sort of, it all connects to where it's like he needs this money. Like he's been offered a chance to have like this perfect family that he almost lost, take care of his daughter and all that. So it sort of makes sense. And then when you see the wife in the video, she's like, those are either videos to the original Sam or they're videos to the fake Sam, and she's in on it, right? Which either way, she like, I think the videos work either way, because either way, you know, they're having trouble and she's like, this is good that you're up there. This gives us a break.
Right.
Da-da-da-da-da. Or she's kind of pained having to do this because the implications of like, she's like ethically has a quandary about cloning and she's not sure how she feels about this, but the car's outside, the new Benz is nice.
I got it.
Well,
I
I
got
would
it. I figured it out.
I would imagine they're
Oh,
the
you
ones.
figured it out?
They're the messages to the original Sam, and that's
See,
why
and I
they're
think the
edited,
live
and
feed
that's
worked
why-
for the original Sam. I don't think they would have put the original Sam up there with no live feed. I don't think he could.
No,
So-
for
Yeah.
sure. For like the
Here's-
original
here's-
Sam, of course, I would
No,
imagine it
that's
worked.
true. That's true. Okay, here's what I'm thinking is that there has to be a part of the video where she admits to Sam, the OG Sam, while he's in
Right,
space.
right.
She admits to him that she has leukemia, she's dying or something, right?
Or something.
And that part is the cut. That's the part that
Yeah.
keeps getting cut out because you can't tell that guy that part
No.
about it, right?
Hmm.
So if the OG Sam hears that part, he goes home immediately and then he gets paid for his DNA clones because he wants to spend the short time he has with his wife.
Right, with his
who's
wife.
dying.
And he's
And
trying,
then maybe
or
he
he's
makes-
trying to save her. He makes all that
With the money.
and he could
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
He could try at the very least. Yeah, no, I'm here for that. I'm here
So
for that.
so
That
that's the
sounds
part that is
sensible.
being cut is her admitting that she's dying so that the clones don't get motivated in the same way that he did.
Right. Like to really go home. Like, yeah, they want to go home because they have a family and whatever. But now they like, I gotta get home.
They got to get in that cargo.
Right.
My
bay.
wife is sick. I gotta
Mhm.
get there. So yeah, no, I like that. That's a good.
That's
a good
the truth I
explanation.
live by. So
I support
The-
your truth.
The next part I think we should talk about is when Sam's 6 or 2, depending on, now I'm throwing off.
Right, I
I'm a little
know.
fucked on this. All right, so when 6 wakes up in the infirmary, right? And I think
Uh-huh.
the way this is designed story-wise is really well done. I was talking about earlier, but first of all, he wakes up to Birdie talking to headquarters.
Uh-huh.
And we
Right.
get Benedict Wong and Matt Berry there, which are kind of
Mhm.
two cool cameos for me.
Yeah, I
Right,
love
that's
Matt
what she
Berry.
told me, and I was like, oh, "Really? I missed that entirely." But she's like, "Oh, he was small, like you couldn't."
you know
Couldn't
what's
see him, but
crazy
you could hear him.
for Benedict Wong to be in here, and I make the connection to Sunshine. I don't know if you two have ever seen the movie Sunshine,
No,
I don't think so.
but it's another like space sci-fi movie that's like contained on a station sort of thing.
Space scares me.
Mm.
Uh,
This one will.
this
Yeah.
one,
will.
the Sunshine will give you
Mm.
nightmares.
Ooh,
But
ooh.
the Benedict Wong being in both of them, and I'm making the connection that he's in all these like space sci-fi
Right.
movies, and then like he gets his most notoriety from being Wong in Doctor Strange, right?
Okay.
But
yeah.
I'm just thinking of him in Sunshine the entire time I'm watching this like live feed. David, remind me who's Matt Berry?
So I was going to say, I know him from
Yeah.
like IT Crowd is where I know
Uh-huh.
Benedict Wong,
Ah.
and that Matt
Mhm.
Berry was also in IT Crowd.
Yep.
So they
Oh.
knew each
Benedict
other
Wong
from
was in
then.
IT Crowd?
He was in one episode where they
Okay.
when he played Countdown, when Moss won Countdown and he made it into the fancy club.
Oh, that's
Benedict
right,
Wong
okay.
was the guy who was like, I'm number one or whatever, who like invited him to the private little
He wasn't
club.
in space.
No,
that
they
time?
weren't in space.
So Matt Berry probably right now is most known for What We Do in the Shadows, the TV
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Now, well, he was also in Boosh.
Yeah, Mighty Boosh, IT Crowd,
I need to watch Mighty
Snuffbox.
Boosh.
We go way back with.
We watch a lot of British comedy.
Yeah. We know him. Well, not really.
No.
Oh,
But
him. All right, I just had to look him up eventually. Okay, him. Okay, I get it.
Right.
I'm with the times now.
But what I want to say about this is if him just waking up, you think, oh, this is the original. Like, I don't know how you guys felt when I first saw this. I was like, oh, this is just the same guy who got out of the crash and woke up. Right, that's
Same.
what we're trying to be led to believe. But he doesn't make a big deal about Gertie talking to headquarters because he's new-ish and he doesn't have all the same memories of the last 3 years of that not working. And so it's only later on he then goes to number 5 and it's like, hey, by the way, he was talking to headquarters and now I realize like, oh, that shouldn't have worked.
Well, he
But-
kind of like you can see that he kind of thinks about it though for a second, but I think he's more concerned with how long have I been.
Well, and he says something
Right.
to Gertie about it, I think, and Gertie has that weird emoji when he turns around like, woo,
Ooh,
that woo
right?
emoji, like,
Like-
I got busted.
Right,
And so
he was
he
like,
does
Right.
ask
But
him, and he's like, no, it's just a
It was
recording.
something else. Well, because he's not entirely sure because he's disoriented and whatever. Like he's not entirely sure what he's hearing or not hearing, and like, just anyway.
Well,
like
and
I feel like he's
And if
kind
Gertie
of,
wasn't telling home base that there were 2 alive clones, then what the fuck
Right.
was he telling him? And why did
Right,
he
like,
never
why
tell
was
them
he-
that?
that's
He
also
never
true
told home
because
base there were 2 at the same
he
time
told
alive.
him to like erase my shit so that nobody knows what we've been up to out here.
Well, but that was like he should have already, as soon as Gertie saw that the other one brought back the body of the first one and he was
Right.
alive and he put him
But
in the
that
infirmary,
was
he
the
should have
trip.
immediately
like that was like,
notified home base.
whoa, what is
Yeah.
happening here? There's 2.
But
I
I
was
think-
still like holding on to the space madness thing at that point. Like he
Right.
was still hallucinating this whole.
I think
Like he was
that's the
watching his own
strongest
accident.
part of the movie was Gertie being on Sam's side the whole time. Like there's times when you're led to like it does this like ominous zoom in on Gertie's little
Yeah.
emoji face.
Well,
right?
that little emoji
And-
face would drive me fucking insane. I could not deal with the emoji face. Like you're gonna have to do something else. I
Just make
cannot.
it a
Like
starry
I need
sky
to
or
talk
something.
about it. Like no, Gertie, you need to back the fuck up with that smiley face. I cannot. That would make me space mad.
Just the little.
Is
Well, isn't it
Gertie with
funny
the
how
thing-
like outside of his bathroom stall, he kind of gauges his temperament with smiley faces and frowny faces.
Right, like he
Like-
kind of has like the emotions and like whatever. Like you kind of feel like it's a living character.
And does
even
Gertie
with
go
that
in
Yeah.
and wipe all those marks off? Because did you notice there was one part where you could see that there had been
The-
happy faces
yeah, I
and
did.
that they were
and
wiped clean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering, Gertie goes in between every set of clones and
Well, like it's a
waxes
good
the
thing that
wall.
Gertie is a machine because that's got to be fucking depressing to
It
have
doesn't-
that be.
Why
your-
it keeps having the same guy just
right.
pop
It's like
back up out of
doing
the,
the
drawer,
same thing.
so-
It's madness. It's like that again with me to fucking space madness. I feel like space madness is really at the core of this whole thing. I'm just gonna say.
I think it plays a part. The other
Yeah.
thing I want to say is the movie does a good job until we discover the original Sam that we know, Sam 5 or Sam 1.
Oh my god. Get up.
Not mentioning like how long this guy has left. Like Sam, like the 6th clone, you're thinking like, oh, he's still got a couple weeks left, and then
Right.
Gertie's like, well, we have to keep you under observation for a few days, and then you'll go back to your quarters in a day, and then after that you'll start working. And you're like, well, he's only got 2 weeks left. Like,
Right,
what's the
like
fucking
why
point of
isn't
him
he
even going
like
back to work?
questioning? Well, because I thought that too when he got up and he couldn't walk.
right. Then he
That
just
that
Yeah,
was
went
like,
in
the
there.
oh, like
atrophy.
how long
Yeah.
has he actually been in there? Like that's a whole thing. But he didn't seem bothered
Well, and
by
why
that
would
because
the clone wake up thinking he only has 2 weeks if he's a fresh clone?
right?
No, he wouldn't.
Because
He wouldn't.
No,
No,
he did-
that's
the
why
movie
he
just
didn't
doesn't
question it. Right, he doesn't
The
question
movie,
it.
the movie
Okay.
doesn't mention how much time he has left until we find that they're clones. Until we find the first one again, that it doesn't mention
Well, in
that.
the
So as
beginning,
the
he
audience, you're like,
does.
no, I'm saying that. Yeah. So when the 5th clone gets injured, they think he's dead. That guy had
Right,
2
right.
weeks left, and then the new one isn't just going to take 2 weeks. He's starting his 3-year shift,
Right,
Right.
exactly.
which now everything's thrown off by 2 weeks. So that sucks.
I
for the
know,
company,
because
you know?
that
How are
guy
they
did
gonna deal
not
with that?
die. That one did
Yeah,
not
that's
die.
Well, it's thrown off even more because then they have to revive another one at the end of the
Right.
movie while the other
Yes.
one sneaks away, and they don't know that they're missing a clone at that
I'm sure there's
point.
other issues at that point besides
Well, at
just like
that
the 3
point, that's
clones.
also true. Well, that and like if he does make it back, does he still only live for 3 years?
I would assume so.
Is he still only like?
Unless he
Is
can,
it really like
he can get it.
Treated or
or
something. I don't know.
Well, because I would imagine like if you're thinking that
Yeah.
maybe the radiation sickness is a byproduct of being a clone, then I would think that that's the kill switch that they engineered into having these clones because it takes about 3 years for them to
Unless-
go
Yeah.
mad.
Unless he gets some sort of medical treatment when he's on Earth about it, or
Maybe.
he has 3 years to kind of expose the company for what they're doing. I mean, I think kind of a confusing / strong ending to this movie is that like those radio or like podcast
Right.
people you
It's
hear
like
at the
people
end.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
because
he
I
goes.
also
He
saw a
either
thing
goes
that
on like a
wasn't real.
news. Yeah, no, I think it is real. Like he goes on like through a news outlet, and you could understand like the divisiveness of us.
Oh, of doing
right?
this,
Of like
yeah, like
of doing this is like
Mhm.
first of all, is he telling the truth? Is he actually a clone?
right.
Is he just a crazy person?
Mhm.
Right? Or like then if you go into believing that he's actually a clone, then it's like, well, do clones have rights? Is this a human rights thing? Is
Oh,
like it becomes
see.
this
There could be a
political
sequel.
madness
There
Moon
could be
2.
a sequel. There could be if you're
called
talking
Earth.
about right.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Earth,
There you go.
right? That would be a thing, and it's all about clones' rights.
2 things I read. One of the cylinders that he's holding when he leaves is one of
Yes.
the helium cylinders,
Yes,
and they said it's worth like $15 million. So
correct.
that would like start a new life for him. Hopefully, he can get to a doctor that he has 3
Help
years
him.
to figure out how to like save him. And the other thing is, so the director of this is Duncan Jones, who is the son of David Bowie,
Yes.
and he directed the movie Mute. And I guess there's a short news piece in that. And there's just this quote that says, "The 156 faced their maker, Lunar Industries ex-employee questioned by panel in presence of scores of clones." And it's
Oh.
Sam Rockwell seen playing Sam Bell with at least like 28 clones present.
Oh, nice.
It's just like this
okay.
little vignette in the movie
Well,
Mute.
Okay.
I did
interesting.
see
So,
that was part of a trilogy with Mute, Moon, and something else, or it was part of a planned trilogy or something. Like one has something to do with the other. Like obviously there's that little bit, but that they
Oh, that's cool.
relate somehow. That there's maybe a third. I saw something about a trilogy because I saw that too.
Also
haven't
starting
seen
with the
it.
letter
It's-
M.
I haven't either.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. And
Help
4
with
letters,
it.
Alon. That's a good
Another
connection.
4-letter, yeah.
But I
Cool.
But
Mind.
the end of this movie, the end of the movie does mention that he is talking with like government officials, right, about like what this company
Right.
is doing, and
Mhm.
so it is like
Blows the whistle.
it is like a whole thing, like what would happen on Earth. I do like how contained the movie is, and that we just got to kind of get that little bit at the end, but we're not like exploring that part. Like the movie is still
Right.
just this like really 97-minute tight thing that has sort of a happy ending, I guess.
I mean, I guess
Kind
it
of.
depends on how you look at it. Like, kind of, I guess. I mean, like, Sam Bell lives somewhere. He's out there living his life, right?
The real
like,
Sam
the,
Bell,
the
yeah.
real original Sam Bell is still out there living his life. Like, you assume, like, he couldn't save his wife, but you assume they're doing okay,
Yeah.
you know?
But it's
But
kind
I
of
guess-
funny if you think about it because okay, so a couple of things that Sam Bell 6 or 2, however you want to look at it, puts into place, right? So one, he's like, I'm just going to go to Hawaii. And obviously he doesn't do that because you hear the news outlets at the end. But then
Right.
the other thing that he does is that he repositions the rover to go out and to run over the feed jammer.
So that the
Right,
next
so
they
that-
clone
can
has a
have
live feed.
a live feed.
Exactly.
So does that make
So
them aware?
how does that change it? Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like, so now they're all aware. Like, I mean, I guess, I don't know if it would make it better or worse for them to know that they're clones. I just think it would make it
I think it
better
was just
if they
a-
didn't have those memories. I
I
mean,
think
I
it
don't
was
know
just a
how
fuck you
ethical
to the
that is.
corporation.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I
I'm
don't
sure
think because the corporation's going to know the jammer's out, right? So it's
the
like
corporation is
they're
always
not
bad.
gonna they're
The
not gonna
corporation is
which is
also going
funny
to
that they
know that
just
he launched himself with
Well,
a
yeah,
helium
like, they're
tanker,
gonna
and
find
they're going to
out
see
that
that
one
an
of them-
extra clone got woken up, and they're going to know
Right,
all of
we're
those
missing
things.
all of this shit. Like, you're gonna give us back our $15 million helium tank, or
Right.
else, motherfucker.
So he
Like,
better
you're
get
gonna-
on that news quick.
right.
So what gets launched every time then? Is it the helium?
Just helium.
That's
I
harvested?
guess it's like
Yeah.
the payload or
Yeah,
whatever.
he
like
he
the
fills
harvest.
a tankard with like those little capsules
Right,
that
and
he
they go
gets
back
off
to
the thing,
Earth.
and then it sends back to
Mhm.
Earth.
Yeah, that's at least
Okay.
that's the thing I saw. That's what they're sending back. So
so
I mean, I guess
the
I don't
next part when we discover the first clone, he's number 5. He's like his face is busted up, his hands busted
Mhm.
up, and like the rest of like the movie, we can kind of see him deteriorating, right?
know. Right.
And what I find interesting about kind of the next several parts of the movie is just that like Clone 6 figures this all out in an instant. He knows what's
Right?
up. He's like,
Right.
I'm a clone, you're a
Yeah.
clone. If they know that there's 2 of us, they're gonna kill both of us.
Right.
Right. And so he's planning it immediately, but the other one is fucking dying. So like he
Yeah,
doesn't have
I
any
don't-
ability to deal with any of this. He's just like, I
Mm-mm.
need to get back to my wife and kid. Like
Right. They're
I'm
like,
the real
well,
one.
Yeah, like, well, but are you though? I don't know.
But you could say that because of his deteriorating mind, he's not thinking as quick as the new one, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
that's
that-
true because
that could
he's
be a
like
part
all
of it,
brand new
too.
and shiny.
Well, and I think any of
Yeah.
them who had woken up to find themselves there would have immediately started to assess, like, oh shit,
Right.
we
like,
got some
what is
clone
going
business
on
happening
here?
right
Yeah,
now.
like clearly there is some clone business happening here.
Yeah.
I'm either that or I'm crazy. I don't know.
And so then the next thing I want to say is that they send the headquarters is like, oh, we're going to send Eliza. It's like a rescue mission
Mhm. Yeah.
to fix the thing. Could you have chosen 3 more like people that look more like killers? Like the photos of
Right?
those guys just
We're
like look like an
sending these
assassin
brutes.
squad.
Right? They're not going to kill you.
And
It'll
I
be
was
fine.
kind of surprised they really sent someone. I thought maybe that was
Right.
part of the whole thing to get him into the little container. It was like, oh,
Right,
rescue's
like,
coming.
oh,
Go get in your
so
little
just
capsule.
get in
They're
your little
almost
thing.
here.
It'll be fine.
So when they really showed up, I was like, oh, okay. They actually did
all
send
right, yeah,
somebody.
because they had shit that was down, right? Like,
Yeah, it was
They
just
just-
to fix that
Mhm.
harvester.
Yeah, they just recruit the guys who are like, just from death row, just like,
Or
just
yeah, like
come-
whatever, like they're space prisoners. It's like Alien 3.
They get a-
The funny thing about that is that okay, so that actually brings up a really good point. Is when the new Sam comes out, thinking he's at the beginning of his 3 years, sees
Right.
the live feed from Matt Berry, Benedict Wong. It doesn't think really anything of it, but then he's told by Gertie that he cannot be let out of the station until Eliza
Yeah.
comes.
Right.
And he kind of tricks Gertie, which I feel like Gertie falls for that quite easily. He's like, nah, I just want to go out for shits and
Right.
giggles.
Like,
But
yeah, let me go.
yeah, but he's like, yeah, but you can't go near the harvester. He's like, no, Gertie,
Right.
I
don't
won't
go
go near
over
the
there.
harvester
Oh,
at
I
all.
promise I
Yeah.
won't. No. Don't go there.
But then when he does it and everything like that, it's I guess Eliza's coming there, so that doesn't happen every time, right? The harvester doesn't crash every time.
No.
No,
So
because
the
it would be a bunch of them
Eliza
out there
coming
if
to
it did.
fix the harvester. Exactly. But then Eliza, no, because they have to send the rescue team to fetch the body. They can't let the new Sam
That's also
out because
true.
he might discover the body.
Right.
That's true too.
So
Yeah.
then, so that whole thing is new because if they did that, then they would have to send out a team Eliza every 3 years to.
Yeah, no, I think that's
to
a
retrieve a
one-off.
body.
That's the first time that's happened, I think. That
right.
was my
Because
my
I wondered
impression.
that too. Like, well, who went and got him?
Yeah,
That's
nobody.
what I thought. Like, who would have
Yeah.
got?
They
Like,
were
nobody
waiting
did.
for
He was
Eliza to
out there,
come
yeah,
get him, I
like,
guess.
he was still out
Yeah.
there. Like, nobody went and got him. It was a whole
I thought
new
he was
person.
dead when he first found him.
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay, so
Well, so did they. That's why they did all.
Yeah.
That's why they did the thing. That's why they woke him up and didn't go through with the incineration process. I guess they're like, oh, good. We don't have to fire up the things right now.
think-
yeah.
I think once you get past all that, the funniest thing is Sam 6 with his aviators just being really
Yes.
cool in a corner
He's super
as
cool.
like Sam 5 starts freaking out about stuff. Like he's like boxing the boxing bag sort of thing, and
Yeah,
then
like,
he's like,
he's
who
extra cool.
who are you? Yeah,
Just casual.
exactly.
Yeah, like I run real good. Check me out. Look at me with my jump rope. Check me out.
I'm fresh out of the
I'm
box.
super fresh. I'm a baby.
The next part I want to talk about is it's basically when Gertie starts helping out, right? So like one this whole time is kind of hoping that he's like the original, and then 1 and 2 sort of get in a fight, 6 and 5, whatever, fuck.
Or whatever.
And so 5 is talking to Gertie, and he's like, 2 scares me. Like, he's got this anger. I never told you this, Gertie, but, Tess left me. And Gertie goes, I know.
I know.
But he's so fucked up, he doesn't even realize, like, oh, I never told you this, but you already know. So
Right.
clearly
Like,
you've heard
why
this,
would you
a
know
ton of
that?
times. And then Gertie just kind of tells him everything. He's like, yeah, you're a clone. The crash that crash that originally happened, that didn't happen. So that then clues us in that, like, the crash he talks about with the one earlier.
Yeah.
And then right after this is when, 6 apologizes, and he's like, I wasn't supposed to find you. And also, hey, like, the satellite isn't messed up. We got to figure out what's going on. And this is sort of like the beginning of the end, where they like find the jammer. 5 is really fucking dying. And then like he like signs in to like, find all this classified data, and Gertie comes up and just puts in the password, and he finds like, the soot, the machine that's killing everything. And then I think he then was able to, after they get rid of the jammer, he calls his child, or his, his wife.
But why would Gertie, like, why it's a machine? Like, what did he
I guess we're supposed to
develop a
believe that. I
conscience?
mean, it's his whole thing is I'm here to help you. If that was his major programming, is do whatever
maybe,
you can to
if
help
it's-
Sam.
If it's a self-teaching type of thing, because otherwise, why would
And he's been
Yeah.
up there
it do it?
15 years learning Sam's mannerisms and knows he's not dangerous. And so it's like, well,
Maybe.
whatever.
Maybe.
I'm just going to let him know then.
But I mean, like,
I mean,
it's still a
I'm-
machine. Like, why? I don't understand what the payoff is for Gertie to decide.
I don't know.
I'm here for you, Sam.
Right? Like, I don't.
I'm your
That
friend.
would drive me fucking nuts. That would drive me fucking nuts.
That like
I
monotone
could not.
voice.
I would not be able to handle. Like, I would rather.
I think
be
the
there
part
with
that would
nothing.
drive you nuts is the fact that it's Kevin Spacey's voice.
That too.
Well, that too. Well, he ain't after me. I
That's
mean,
true. He doesn't want anything to do with
No, he doesn't want me. So I mean, I guess it would be fine, but like I couldn't deal with that. Like that would be the thing. Like I would rather be up there alone. I'd rather be up there with my houseplants
the TV.
Yeah.
There was a TV. That's all I need.
or something. Like show me some
Well-
old episodes of the Addams Family or
Right.
whatever. Like
And
I'm cool.
Bewitched.
I could have Pluto TV up there, like a
There
little
you go.
Tubi. Fuck it, whatever. Like a little Vincent Price movie every once in a while. I'm good.
I think we talked about this earlier too, but when they find like the thousands and thousands of like other clones,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I'm like, how old is all this, right? Like how,
Right.
and it would have been such a different direction to do it, to where they're like, this was 300 years ago. You're like,
Right.
all your entire family's dead.
Mhm.
Like that would have been an interesting, like it would have been a less positive ending, right? Because you think,
Yeah.
oh, he might get to go home and like see his not
It's
real
Right,
daughter,
but there's like nothing
yes and no.
there.
I think it's more depressing the fact that it's only been 15 years.
why?
And that
mean-
and that the real him is still alive.
And that the
Right,
real
like
him is
the
still
alive
alive and that
there.
he could still see his daughter. I think that all that hope, like, right out of touch is more depressing than, oh, it's happened 500
I
mean,
hope
years ago.
everyone's
well,
dead
'cause-
and I just have to be a new guy now. Like
Well, I
I'm
mean,
Sam
like,
Bell
'cause
with
that's-
just Sam Bell.
But that's just the thing of like, but what he only has these memories because like none of it's real. Like to him, none of it's real. None of these things actually happen.
Well, maybe
to
he
him.
talks
None of these
himself
things-
out of it once he's.
I
back
mean,
on Earth.
I don't know. Like, I don't understand. Like, if once you found out, I don't really exist. I'm a clone. Like, all of my memories are ghosts of the memories of the original person. Like, yeah, he's still out there, but basically, I'm just a copy of a copy of a copy. And I feel like it might be easy to let that go. Like, just be like, oh, okay. Well,
I
then.
don't know. That's
don't-
the psychology of cloning.
I
Who
know,
knows?
like I don't know. I mean, this is
Gotta
way
ask
more...
that sheep.
Wait,
Can you interview that one clone sheep?
I think Dolly's been dead for a long
Oh
time.
shit! Wait, doesn't Barbara Streisand have
Dolly
cloned
Dolly
dogs?
had a 3-year lifespan too.
Right?
Didn't Barbara
Like, they put
Streisand have
Dolly
her
on-
dogs cloned or something?
Probably. That sounds like something Babs would do.
Interview Barbara Streisand's dogs for the truth.
Call Linda Richmond.
You can get your animal clone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super.
You got like $15,000-$25,000 probably.
I mean,
super
I don't.
expensive.
I
couldn't
don't think they
imagine.
clone the memories into them. Though.
Could you
It doesn't
imagine,
work like that?
Could you imagine?
Oh, my
like,
puppy
Judo
already
Pinocchio?
knows how to sit, play
Exactly.
Right.
God, that would be amazing though. Could you just like clone the training
Ruby,
into
but
them?
not Ruby.
Yeah,
Like, but she wouldn't be an asshole this time.
but like she's super nice. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so I just want the original dog. Just make it less of a bitch.
Right.
Yes,
like
yeah.
she was a real
You
asshole.
want a
Like
male
it was
dog.
funny we were talking about. Well, I mean, I don't know. That would be weird. Like, dig her up. She's out in the backyard.
I just need a strand of her hair, like out of a
There
brush
you
or
go.
something, I guess.
Oh, I don't know.
So this movie, I guess the whole ending of this movie is basically when Six comes up with his plan, and
Yeah.
I
Right.
feel like I don't know if you guys saw this the same way, but it felt like Six was going to kill Five. He's like, "Oh yeah, Five, I'm going to send you home," and it's like, is Six a good guy? Is he going to send him home? Like, it's weird.
I thought he was. I thought he was until Five was like, "Dude,
I
I'm
didn't
fucking
see it
dying."
that
Right.
way.
Like
I
if
didn't
they
see it
were
the same
dying
way.
and like whatever. Well, because I also read a thing that said that all of those whatever, like all of the news conferences and all of the whistleblowing and all of that shit didn't actually happen.
That it was just
That
him
it was just
imagining on
a-
his way
yeah, that
home
it was just
how
a-
it would be.
Right. Like it was just a positive imagining while they drifted off into fucking space. I mean,
Hmm.
I
I
don't
took
know.
it.
Like
I
said,
took it to be that he made it back and was talking to the news. I didn't
Right,
put
and
It
then
was
anything
all a
into
dream.
that.
Well, I mean, because
Right,
Butte
like,
kind
it
of
was all a
confirms
dream.
that, right? The scene in
Well, because I
the-
never
in the
saw
subsequent
that.
movie.
So I mean,
I think the point I was trying to make is it's so because of like how long Five has been there, he's kind of more emotional, right? Whereas
right.
Six is more robotic and like I guess a little fatalistic in that he's like, I don't really fucking care what happens to me, like
Right,
whatever.
right.
And he's like, listen, you're about to die, but you sort of need to go, so whatever, I'll send you. It doesn't really matter, like
Yeah.
we'll send you. And then it eventually kind of Five makes the right decision of like, dude, my legs don't even work. Like, let's just send you. And Six is like, yeah, that is a much better plan. Let's just do that.
right,
That
yeah.
sounds
Like,
great.
You're just
Yeah.
gonna be a corpse
Oh
in
my
a box
God.
by
I
the time
know.
you get
Like
there.
they're already
Well, not only
deteriorating.
that, but like the day before when Five goes to sleep, I'm surprised that fucker wakes up.
Oh, I was
Like,
too. He
I
seemed
know. Like,
surprised
he
too.
was
He
so
was surprised he
gross.
woke up.
Like it was a nasty.
Yeah, he
That's
was
a
going down
terrible
fast.
way to go. Terrible
he-
way.
He lived all the way up to the point where he was able to see the spaceship launch out with Sam
Right,
Six
like
in
watching
you know?
it to
So it's like,
watching him go back to Earth. Well, I mean, I guess that's just
Yeah.
what happens if they don't incinerate you first. Is that you just like
When like, why did he even bother to wake up Wait, did they incinerate the number 5, or was he just like the crew found
I don't
his
know,
dead
like if
body
they just
in there,
if they're finding bits now, like clone bits, just
or did he put him back in the rover? Did they put him back
No,
in
yeah,
the
he
rover
put him back in
before
the
he
rover,
left?
yeah.
He
He
put
put
him
the
back in
five-
the rover.
okay,
Okay, okay. So he covered that
Okay,
one.
And then
yeah.
So they found him where he
seven
was
is the
supposed
one
to be.
that's Seven is the one that's waking up, which is funny
Who's
because
supposed
Five's
to
like
be 6.
right,
Sam-
right,
yeah.
right.
he's like, we can't kill Seven. Like, and then you realize like, oh, that was the plan to kill Seven and throw him in
Right.
the rover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once again, 6 is just like, oh, we're all clones. This doesn't fucking matter. Like, we're not the
Well,
originals.
what's funny about that is that, and I don't know if you guys felt the same way watching it as I did, but like when they revealed that their plan was wake up 7, kill 7,
Mhm.
put him in the rover, put 5
Right.
in the thing, and 6.
What
I don't know
what
what
was
6
he
would
gonna
do
do?
in that moment.
Right, like just hang
He would
out.
live for 3 years.
I guess.
No, he would live for 3 years and
He
work.
would just do the job.
Yeah,
Would just
or
do the
just like
job?
to cover it.
Oh
all.
yeah, I guess so.
Well,
I guess so. Yeah.
I
So
Get
mean,
really
like,
good
with
at
him-
ping pong.
But when
Right.
when I heard that though, I was like that plan makes no sense. It makes a way better plan since 5 is dying. Put him back in the rover and do what they
Right.
actually ended up doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you guys kind of see it like when 5 was like, my legs don't work, just kill me and
Right,
you
right.
go? I was like, okay, that makes way more sense.
Right.
For sure.
You would have to do that. Well, because you'd have to make sure if that was the whole thing to bring it all down, you would have to make sure you'd have your best representation making it back to Earth,
Right?
Like the best facsimile to go back to Earth, at least to make it
Just
long
some
enough.
guy, like,
because like
he
you
looks
get
like
the
he's been on
distinct-
meth for 9
I
years.
know.
I'm a clone.
He's like, I'm from Fresno.
They're like, sure you are, sir. Sure you're a
The
clone.
thing was is 6 is the one who came up with the plan, so he can't tell 5 the plan. Be like, so in this plan you just die. We just I'm gonna
Right,
put you back
right.
together and you die.
Yeah.
So
can't
he,
tell
It's almost
maybe
like he made-
knew he would, because it's him.
He made
so
the
he
plan
knew
like
he'd
hoping
volunteer.
he's like hoping 5 would pick up on the fact that like, hey, you really should be the one to get in that
Right,
rover.
like you're gonna die. Bruh.
Yeah.
Well, until you mentioned it, David, I didn't even realize why one was so good at ping pong and the other one wasn't. It's because one
Right.
has had 3 years of practice.
lot
of
I get it now.
practice.
Yeah.
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 Really good. I like to like right at the end when Gertie's like, your plan's not gonna work, and I was like, oh fuck, why not? And he's like,
fuck.
because of my memories, so just erase me.
Right,
He's
just-
like, oh, okay, thanks.
See, and like that's a part again, like the whole thing that I was talking about, how space freaks me out, and like robots, self-aware robots freak me out. Like that would freak me out too. Like, yeah, it was a good thing, but why is this robot so
Why are
self-aware?
you helping me?
Why are you helping me? Like that freaks
Well, I think
me
it's
out.
My
it's
job.
genius by like going off of the shoulders of 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Right.
and averting our expectations, especially having it voiced by Kevin Spacey, which has played a villain in everything he's ever been in.
I also like that the guys that show up at the end, like one of them has a space gun, which
You
seems
gotta have a
preposterous.
space gun.
But it's also just to let you like to confirm to the audience that these were bad guys, like
Well,
Right.
yeah,
that
they're
we're gonna
space
kill
down in
everybody.
Earth. Right.
And he's
That's
like,
their job.
oh, he's not going anywhere. I don't have to kill him. We'll just drag his corpse later.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. I might
When
do
they-
some things to it.
When they come into the space station and they're like, Sam, are you in here, Sam?
Mm.
Hmm?
Right.
Mhm.
Hello. I like that it
Hello.
was Sam and his name is Sam.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
It made it easy.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
It is. It's good. It's like having direction.
Sam Rock Bell.
So close.
But yeah, what is your overall thoughts? Like how you say that you're not going to watch it again?
I mean, I
but-
might. You know what? I think I might because
Well,
now
I'm
that
going to
we've been
watch it again
talking
with
about
my
it,
husband because my husband wants to see it, and he had
I
someone
think
over
I
when I was
should
watching
show
it.
my husband because I think he might like it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like space movies. I liked that it was surprising. I liked that it was not what I thought it was going to
Same,
be.
yeah, because I was really expecting it to just be this like character study of a
Mhm.
person losing their mind in space
Right,
and talking to
which I
themselves,
would've
which
been
would have
here
been
for.
interesting.
Right,
But
I
this
would've been
added
here
a
for
whole
that.
nother level to
But
it.
yes, I did enjoy the surprise
Mhm.
of that it was something completely different than what I thought it was going to be, which also now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should watch it again. Like actually sit down with my eyes glued to the fucking TV
Pay
and watch
attention.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it for sure.
I mean,
glad
I'll watch
watched it.
anything like
I'm
Sam
glad I
Rockwell.
finally watched.
I'm
I said
glad
the name
I
of the show.
finally watched it.
Whoa. What?
I mean, I never
David,
would've
what are
known
your
if we
final
weren't gonna
thoughts?
do it.
That's true.
Well, so Duncan Jones that directed this, he directed this. We talked about Mute. He also did Source Code. I'm wondering if that's supposed to be the other movie in the trilogy.
Oh,
Have
I
you
don't
guys seen
know.
Source
I
Code?
don't know.
I
No. Mm-mm.
Oh my god, guys!
That's another one. I know. Apparently, we're gonna have to do like rewatch, or watch for the first time.
We
watch
only
for the
watch
first time.
movies that came out before
I
2001.
know. I know. We're so bad at it. Like we
That's
can
our
barely
show.
keep up with.
Our show's all old stuff, so it's
Right.
like we're just rewatching old shit all
And
the
even
time.
then, it's like, oh, so I watched it today, right before we're recording it.
Yep.
So you know,
I mean,
we're
that's mostly
terrible.
what, at least like for like half of our, what we normally do is somebody will have watched it and we're like force the other person to watch it for the first time. So half the time we're watching old shit, and the other half of the time we're being forced to watch something we don't necessarily want to watch. And every once in a while we find people to come on so we can do Moon.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to talk
I
about
know.
a movie
I
you
really
like.
am. Yeah, because I mean, I did. I enjoyed it. I was
And
glad
I'm
for the
glad I sat and watched
opportunity.
it finally. I always meant to because I love Sam Rockwell. I just never did.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I love Sam Rockwell, and it was like Duncan Jones and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, good. I'm here for that.
Just
No,
never got
Kevin
around to
Spacey,
it.
I mean, I don't know. He's a good actor, but
No, yeah, and I mean, three billboards. If you haven't seen that, just watch that because that's Sam Rockwell
Okay.
at his peak.
I think
Oh,
Seven
okay.
Psychopaths first, actually.
Seven Psychopaths. Yeah,
I
that's
think
good
I
too.
saw
I
Seven
feel like I saw
Psychopaths. I think
that.
I did see that one.
I feel
Yeah.
like I might have. I don't know.
Well, you two have been super fun on this episode. Can you let the audience know where they can find you?
You can find us on Instagram at Doom Generation Pod, on Twitter at Doomgen Pod. You can find us to listen to on every platform, just about Spotify,
yeah.
Apple, Google,
All
Audible,
the things.
iHeartRadio. We're on all of the
Tell 'em
things.
about the tree.
Oh yeah,
tree is
the
place
link
to
tree in our
be.
bio on Instagram really is
Yeah.
the best place to find all of the places to find us.
That'll get you everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the place to go.
Well, thanks
Oh.
to Tessa and Nicole from Doom Generation Podcast for joining us today to talk about Moon. I'm Milan.
And I'm David.
And I'm Tessa.
And I'm Nicole.
And they finally watched Moon.
Yes.